Like your resume, your CV needs to represent you as the best candidate for the job. Make it professional. Don't be afraid to brag about your accomplishments respectively. This is what's going to get you the interview. Welcome to the Workforce Link podcast, where we're offering forward-thinking conversations for the workforce, linking employers and job seekers to a brighter tomorrow. I'm your host, Sunday Jo Graham with the Central Workforce Development Region, and I am glad to be back with you for another episode today. So maybe you know what a resume is and a cover letter, but when an employer asks you to send a CV, also known as a curriculum vitae, your head starts spinning, maybe. But don't worry, you are not the only one. In today's episode of the Workforce Link podcast, we will talk about what it is, how to write one, and the difference between a CV and a resume. By the end of today's episode, you will be ready to stand out in your job search. So with that, let's dive in. So what in the world is a CV? Well, a curriculum vitae is different from a resume, and you often combine your experience, your goal, your mission, your skills, things like that in your resume, but a CV focuses more on education. It's going to outline your work history, and it's going to provide a longer record of your education, your awards, your achievements, certification, projects, things like that. For example, if you have some published articles, maybe a book, you're going to have a chance to highlight them there. So if you're seeking a higher education job, you're going to want to use a CV. You know, maybe you're applying for a leadership position in an organization or a high-level role in business. Well, they might request a CV. So we briefly touched on it, but let's talk for just a second about the difference between a CV and a resume. So both are used to show your work history, but there are some key differences. CVs will offer a more detailed outline of your professional and your academic experience. And we talk on the show a lot about the importance of changing your resume specifically for the job that you're applying for. So you don't want to just use the same resume repeatedly, right? However, unless you're adding more information or experience to CVs, they're going to stay the same. You don't need to tweak them as much as you do a resume. And CVs can be multiple pages long to cover everything, but resumes should be kept to a minimum of 2 pages. CVs focus on your academic achievements, degrees, awards, things like that. Resumes focus on your work history and are customized for the job that you're applying for. So with a CV, you're going to want to list your educational achievements first. With a resume, you'll make your most recent work experience the lead. And you don't usually include a lot of personal information like hobbies on your resume or your CV, but you should definitely make sure that your volunteer work is highlighted on a CV. So how do you know when to use a CV? Well, unless asked, or unless you live in Europe where CVs are the norm, you won't need to provide one unless requested, okay? So most job postings should be very, very clear about what they're asking. And if you're not sure, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Picture yourself standing behind the counter at the shoe store. A customer walks in and wants to buy the best pair of shoes you have. They want a quality product, but also want to save money. There's another shoe store across the street having a huge sale, but the customer came to you first. You only have a few minutes to explain why the customer should buy your shoes versus the shoes across the street. You help the customer try the shoes on while explaining the benefits of the cushioning, the upgraded technology, the comfort, and not to mention how fantastic they look. Think of your elevator pitch the same way when you're in a job interview with a potential employer. Your elevator pitch is a brief explanation describing the benefits of buying a product, except you are that product. An elevator pitch is one of the most essential tools you have when applying for a job. When you confidently position yourself, clearly summarizing your experience, skills, and desirable characteristics, the employer is ready to listen. Put in a nutshell, you're going to impress the employer, and we want to help. That's why we created How to Create the Perfect Elevator Pitch, a free guide with 4 proven simple steps to help you wow your next employer. You can download it for free at cwdregion.com/elevator pitch. That's cwdregion.com/elevator pitch. And now back to the show. So how do we write a CV? It may be a fancy name, but you don't have to get fancy to write one, okay? Here are a few tips to help you. Number 1, Always include your contact information, just as we've talked about with your resume 1,000 times on this podcast. Slight exaggeration, but close. Add your name, your phone number, email, city, and your state, okay? Number 2, your academic experience should be listed from most recent to the earliest. This is going to include degrees, high school experience, extra higher education programs, and make sure you include the school's name, the degree you earned, your GPA, and the years that you attended. Number 3, make sure that your professional experience is included, beginning with your most recent job. The name of your company, your job title, the dates of employment, they should all be included. And for a bonus and to make yourself stand out, include dollar amounts or percentages that show actual results that you achieved, okay? This is beneficial to do on your resume and your cover letter as well. Number 4, if you have special skills, certifications, qualifications, make sure to add a section for them, okay? For example, maybe you received certificates through Coursera last year or during some downtime during the COVID pandemic. Make that part of your special skills section. Did you learn a new skill recently? Add it. This shows that you enjoy learning new things, and it lets the employer know that you are teachable. Number 5, you also want to list awards and honors that you have received. Did you receive any grants or scholarships for college? Did you graduate with honors? List those things, okay? Share any leadership awards, share any community awards that you have received. And this is a big opportunity for you to be able to brag about yourself confidently, okay? People want to see your accomplishments, your awards, your honors, things like that. Number 6, if you have any publications, list the titles and where they were published. Number 7, add memberships, affiliations, associations, things like that. Are you a leader in your church? Did you start a society in college to maybe start recycling, something like that, right? You get the point. Add those. Show your leadership experience here. Show your volunteer experience, etc., okay? Number 8, read again. Make sure that you double check your CV for accuracy, for errors, etc., okay? Spell check it. That's your best friend. Spell check is your best friend. Print it out. Read it over a few times. Send it to a friend for review, okay? Make sure you check it over, okay? So like your resume, your CV needs to represent you as the best candidate for the job. So make it professional, okay? Don't be afraid to brag about your accomplishments. Do so respectively, right? But don't be afraid to do that. This is what's going to get you the interview, okay? And some great CV templates are available online that you can download and get started with, so you're not having to build it from scratch. Zety.com, that's Zety.com. They actually have several to choose from, and I will share the link in the show notes for you to that. So go download some templates to get you started. And speaking of interviews, if you need some assistance perfecting your next interview, our Job Center staff would love to help. We have an excited team waiting to assist you with all of your employment-related needs from Fulton, Columbia, Rolla, Jefferson City, Lebanon, Potosi, Lake of the Ozarks, and more. Whether you're looking for employment or you want to go back to school, or maybe you're an employer trying to find your next great team member, our Job Center staff can help you do all of the above, okay? So you can find your closest Job Center location at cwdregion.com/jobcenters. That's cwdregion.com/jobcenters. And again, I will share the link to that in the show notes. That's it for us today. If you have enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, leave us a review. Word of mouth is the most powerful way to reach others, and we would love your help in making that happen. All right, have a great week, and we will meet again in the next episode. Until then, remember this: there's always a brighter tomorrow if you're willing to find it.
The Central Region Workforce Development Board Incorporated and COPIC are equal opportunity employers and programs. Auxiliary aids and services are available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Missouri Relay Services at 711.